I never experienced nothing like this in my life. It felt like I was in a movie.
As Florida residents like Crystal Coleman eyed a daunting recovery effort after Hurricane Milton, many said the storm's wrath was unlike anything they'd seen before.
I mean, this was powerful.
The brutal wind and heavy rainfall that battered the state was made worse by human-caused climate change. That's according to a team of international scientists known as World Weather Attribution. Their analysis showed that global warming made wind speeds around 10% stronger and rainfall between 20% and 30% greater. In less than 24 hours, Milton intensified from a Category 1 to a Category 5 storm. The National Hurricane Center said that made it the third fastest intensifying Atlantic hurricane on record.
We have warmer waters now in the Gulf of Mexico.
Flood scientist Hannah Cloak said the storm fed off record and near-record warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico.
We will see warmer waters in the future because of climate change, and this will affect storm surge because we're going to have higher sea levels to start with. We also think that climate change is going to affect the types of hurricanes that we're getting, and there is some evidence that they will be stronger and perhaps even spawn more tornadoes. And of course, stronger rainfalls as well, heavier rainfalls because of climate change. So these types of events could get worse in the future because of climate change.
Milton is the second Category 5 hurricane this season. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said there have only been 5 other years since 1950 that registered more than one Category 5 hurricane in one season. In light of extremely warm surface water temperatures around Florida and the Caribbean, forecasters expected a supercharged Atlantic hurricane season, with between 4 and 7 major storms.
Peru has faced a record number of fires over the past few weeks that have set ablaze the country's ecosystems, from grasslands and dry forests to coastal areas and the Amazon. There have been around 10,400 fires in Peru in 2024, according to the Global Wildfire Information System, which tracks wildfires by satellite. The figure is more than double the previous record and nearly 2.5 times the total area burned. Conservationist and founder of Jungle Keepers Paul Rizzoli says his NGO has seen burned animals after recent patrols of the Amazon.
At this point, we've lost about 17 or 18% of the total Amazon rainforest, and as that continues, we're going to keep coming close to that tipping point.
A legal specialist with the Peruvian Society of Environmental Law says both human and environmental factors have led to such widespread fires, from less rainfall and higher temperatures to a failed government response and human-started fires. Peru's President Dina Boluarte acknowledged the country lacked the logistics to fight the fires when she declared a state of emergency in mid-September. Environmentalists say other changes are having an impact too. The executive director of the Spectacled Bear Conservation says modification to a forestry law in January emboldened local farmers to burn more land. He says this situation will remain constant. The weather will continue to be extreme and people will need more land.
Volkswagen Group reported a 7% fall in third quarter global deliveries on Friday. It was yet another example of how Europe's car industry faces tough challenges, including weak demand from China and high production costs at home. Europe's car companies also face a potential trade war between the European Union and Beijing. The EU has agreed to move forward with import tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles due to alleged subsidies. VW is currently undergoing a major revamp. It's considering whether to close some German plants for the first time due to weak European demand and Chinese competition. The auto giant also cites the challenges of vehicle electrification and high costs in Germany for the potential closures. Volkswagen's deliveries to the world's biggest car market, China, fell 15% in Q3. This dragged down the global figure to a little under 2.18 million vehicles. The automaker has cut its annual outlook for a second time in less than 3 months. It also expects to deliver around 9 million cars this year, representing an annual decline. Fellow German rivals BMW and Mercedes also said Thursday third quarter sales were hit by sluggish demand and Chinese competition.
Israeli forces fired at a watchtower used by UN peacekeepers on Friday, injuring 2. That's according to a UN source. It's the 3rd day in a row peacekeepers at headquarters in Naqoura have reported Israeli fire at their positions. Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati condemned the incident as a crime. It comes amid Israel's war against Hezbollah militants, with its latest attack in Beirut on Thursday night killing more than 20 people and injuring over 100, Lebanese authorities said. 3 security sources said the target here was a senior Hezbollah official who survived. Meanwhile, in Israel, Hezbollah killed a Thai worker after firing an anti-tank missile at a farming area, according to emergency services. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah erupted 1 year ago. The Iran-backed group opened fire in support of Palestinian militant group Hamas at the start of the Gaza war. But the war in Lebanon has dramatically intensified over recent weeks, with Israel bombing Beirut's suburbs, killing top Hezbollah leaders and launching a ground attack. The UN source said that along with the tower that came under fire on Friday, troops also breached the perimeter of another peacekeeping base they'd fired at the day before. The UN's peacekeeping chief said that the safety of over 10,400 peacekeepers in Lebanon is, quote, increasingly in jeopardy. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military on Friday's reported incidents.
People injured in attacks on a cluster of private coal mines in southwestern Pakistan were brought to this hospital in Quetta on Friday. Police said around 40 men armed with guns, rockets, and hand grenades killed some miners in their sleep and shot others after lining them up. More than 20 were killed. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. One mine owner told Reuters the attackers burnt down 10 mines, along with equipment and machinery, adding that they had been receiving threats from militants for some time. The attacks took place in the mineral-rich Baluchistan province, which borders Afghanistan and Iran. A decades-long insurgency in Baluchistan by separatist militant groups has led to frequent attacks against the government, army, and Chinese interests in the region. Pakistan's prime minister said in a statement the government was, quote, determined to root out all forms of terrorism.
I am very glad, dear Mr. President, that there is an opportunity to meet you personally and discuss our current issues. Relations with Iran are a priority for us, and they are developing very successfully.
I am happy that I have this opportunity to be here and meet with you. Our relations in the cultural, economic and social spheres are stronger and improving day by day. To this end, and taking into account the will shown by the supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution, and the belief that we have in our relations, should see them become stronger and improving. We have many opportunities now. We should help each other in many areas. Our viewpoints and positions in the world are much closer to each other than to those of others. God willing, we will take part in the BRICS summit and will do everything to sign agreements that will allow beneficial mutual cooperation.